Katie, who are you playing in the movie, and why did you want to be a part of Riddick?
I play a character named Doll, one word only. She's a Nordic mercenary who's after Riddick. She's Boss John's #2. And she's the sniper for the military-trained team that's after Riddick. I'm a huge fan of Vin. I've been a huge fan of him as an actor and his passion and what he kind of represents to this business for a long time. And I also am obsessed with Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick. You know, I've seen them both many, many times. I've made my mom watch them both like 3 times. Like, I mean, I am a huge fan of this world, and it's just it's a dream come true to be part of it.
Cool. Well, can you tell us where this storyline picks up and what is Riddick about?
Right. This story picks up with Riddick being in the necromonger world, basically, and him sort of being manipulated into thinking that he's going home to Furia, and ends up needing rescuing, and does something kind of interesting to get a ride off the planet, basically. So, and then some interesting, crazy stuff ensues. The first half of the movie is setting that story up, and what DT has done so beautifully in this movie is taken almost 3 completely different movies and seamlessly sewn them together to be one perfect movie. And the first movie is Vin's kind of setup and where he is and what Riddick's been through and kind of the emotional story that's building up to the middle story, the second story, which is where the mercenaries come after him, basically. So.
And then what were the other 2 parts of the movie?
The second one is the mercenary story, okay, which is when we all, come down to the planet, when we are the rides, basically, that Riddick has called. We're taxis, basically. And we come down and everybody's hunting him, and 2 separate teams come down looking for him. The third movie, in my opinion, is when it starts to rain, and the even worse element to the movie comes out, worse than 9 mercenaries being after you at the same time. So 3 very distinct movies, I think, in one, and they all are very, very seamless.
You have quite a physical role in this movie. Can you talk about what type of training you went through to prepare yourself for the role?
Yeah, for the most part for this, my main goal was just to not look small next to these guys. And I'm only 5'5", so that wasn't going to be easy. So I put on about 10 to 15 pounds of muscle and also a little bit of fat. I wanted to be bigger. And when you're standing next to Dave Bautista and you're 5'5", you're gonna have to be bigger. So I did that. I ate a lot of peanut butter fudge and lifted a lot of really, really heavy weights. And then other than that, it was just getting more proficient with the sniper rifle and the bullets. I really wanted her to look as if this was an extension of her body. And so I didn't want to have to look for the bullets at all. I wanted the ammo to just kind of almost always be in her hand, and so that was hard. That took a week or 2 to get that down perfectly, so I could grab it and load the gun and not even have to look, and not take my eye off the target, which in this case is Riddick.
Cool.
So.
And what do you hope the audience is going to experience when they see this movie in the theater?
I hope they just are excited. You've created a successful movie when you're there for an hour and a half or 2 hours and you forgot your troubles of the day. And this movie does that. It takes you into this world, and it takes you on this roller coaster ride, and it really just doesn't leave you disappointed. It's a phenomenal movie.
It's so fun for you to play in sci-fi worlds.
Because in science fiction, they let women do anything. You're not confined by the restrictions of society. You just kind of go, and nothing is unbelievable.
So you think more women should take sci-fi roles to kind of get that sort of feeling on?
No, I think they should all stay in romantic comedy so I can do it all.
That makes sense.
I'm like, yeah, ladies, come on down, steal everything from me. That would be amazing.
I never thought I'd be the guy asking this question in a junket. There is a scene in the shower.
Yeah, my boob.
Yes, your old lefty,
yeah,
right?
My left boob, yeah. It's called a 3 to 5 second push-in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was no more. Okay, I didn't count. It
it's
seemed like
you should,
forever
yeah.
for me.
No, it's like 3 to 5. You're right, but it's 3 to 5 seconds.
So for you, was that
one.
were you were like, yeah, okay, let's do it? There was like no reservations on that?
DT called to tell me that I had the role, and he said, just so you know, this is not going to go away. You need to be okay with this. And so I called my dad. And I asked my dad permission to do the 3 to 5 second push-in of booby nudity. Mm-hmm. And my dad basically said, you know, no one's gonna think that this is how you got your start. You've been doing this long enough. You've waited till you've been in your 30s. Just tell me when and I'll close my eyes. So I was like, thanks, Dad.
Oh, that's
Bye.
great. So at the premiere, Dad will be closing his eyes.
My dad and my brother, I'm just gonna go like this. Like earmuffs, but on their ears.
But you'll enjoy it.
Yes, because it's a perfect shot. My boob looks like I'm 22. It's great.
Well,
it's really nice.
I don't know the etiquette. It was great.
It's good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, a lot of male action stars. You know, I grew up watching Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sly and Chuck Norris and, you know, Jean-Claude Van Damme and like these, you know, these really strong guys. And then all of a sudden, you know, my dad was like, I think you should see Alien, and showed me Alien, and I was like, oh my God, like women can do this too. And so, you know, grew up loving Linda Hamilton, Sigourney Weaver, like these really, really tough women. And you know, I love doing this, you know, especially coming from an athletic background and being an athlete. I think that it kind of marries the two things that I love to do the most, so it's kind of fun.
Do you still, like, going from your athletic background, do you still do the same type of workout regimen? Maybe not the same as when you was competitive.
No, I mean, like when I was swimming, it was really, really insane. So I would never work out like that again because life is way too short. Yeah. But for this movie, I did have to. You know, it was, I would never want to sustain what I looked like for this movie because I was about 15 pounds heavier than I am right now. But
you look good.
But I mean, she's big. She's, I mean, muscly. You know, Vin's an amazing person, and he has the ability to make everybody feel welcome and loved and appreciated. And he has worked so hard, and he's never given up. And he comes from a family that supports him and loves him, and but also made him do his own work. You know, he worked hard, and to see that celebrated and appreciated by the public is the most amazing thing. I'm just so proud of him, and what he's doing and done, you know?
Riddick was strangely, well, the first Riddick movie was strangely the first film I ever saw when I moved to LA. And
really?
I never thought that over 10 years later they'd make another one.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah, it is awesome.
And that Vin looks just as good now as he did then.
It's really strange.
Isn't that weird?
It's really strange.
It's like he doesn't age. It's amazing.
What do you think it is? Baby's blood?
I don't know what it is, but I will take some of it. Like whatever it is,
What are you talking
it's like
about?
fairy blood from True Blood or something.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't age. It's amazing.
Never cry.
I love that he's the anti-hero, but not really. Like he's not the hero, but he's not the anti-hero. I think he gives the audience permission to want him to do bad things. And I think that they love that because ultimately he's fighting for something that's pure and his survival. And so I think that people can identify with him, but they know that bad stuff is going to ensue, and you don't have to feel guilty about it because that's just who he is.
What was the one sequence for your character that won you over? That you were like, this is a character I can get behind and I can get into?
I loved when she just punches Jordy. I think it sets the tone and it makes you understand who this woman is. She's got a very short fuse, but she also does it as an emphasis. It's like a little exclamation point at the end of everything that she does. Like she's just anyone who punches somebody that quickly for pretty much nothing, but just kind of to support number one. I mean, the whole point of her hitting him in the first place is that you're not cooperating and this is my boss. Please respect him. Yeah. And that's the way that she does it. It sets the tone. Yeah. You now know who this person is.
Being the only girl in this movie, what's the pros and the cons of that?
You know, the cons are that you have the majority of the estrogen sitting on your shoulders, you know, and there's a lot of different women that you're trying to appeal to come see the movie, you know. But the benefits are that, you know, you're the only woman in the movie.
Everybody treats you like a princess?
Yes, they did. I mean, it's so funny because I would go and I would do these scenes where I would beat everybody up, and then right after that, one of the cast members, one of the boys, would come and bring me a jacket because I was cold. Or they were like, do you need a water, Katie? I mean, it was really interesting because it was, you know, they had a very, very solid understanding of that I am incredibly wimpy. So
Where would you like to see Doll go if she was in future Riddicks?
yeah, you know, I would love to see Doll have a very similar relationship with the Riddick that she had with Boss Johns. You know, she makes a very good number 2, a very good soldier. She does what she's told. And she's very capable. You know, I would love to go into the Underverse. I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be really fun.
What about some love scenes?
Well, you know, I mean, maybe that too. I think that we haven't really seen that yet, you know,
Not for
and
Riddick.
not for Riddick. So it might be interesting. I mean, it's implied, but we haven't really seen it. So I don't know. I don't know. It would probably be really violent and very, very sexy. Sorry, I'm getting hot. Do you have a fan? Physically, the dirtiest movie I've ever done. Every night we went home, we all joked about how we'd stand in the shower for 30 minutes and just dirt would fall off of your body. And I love that stuff. It reminds me of when I was a little kid growing up in a small town, and we would just run around and play in the dirt, and my brother and I would dig holes and fill them with water and pretend we built swimming pools. I mean,
wow.
We were just crazy kids. I mean, we ran around outside all the time. So I love the action and the dirtiness and the grittiness of this movie.
I don't know about your boyfriend, but have you ever had guys scared of you?
It does happen, especially when I'm at the gym. They think I'm gonna hurt them, but it's so funny because then they'll usually hear me giggle and they'll be like, "What was that?" So yeah, it doesn't last long.
There's some interesting parallels between your character and Riddick and Starbuck.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that and the ways in which they differ and deviate?
Yeah, you know, it's an interesting thing for me because when I play characters, I don't knowingly, I don't see similarities between them. The similarities that you could probably point out is they've got similar hair, they're both blonde, they're both very tough, and they're both in space. Those are probably that's probably where the similarities end, to be honest. You know, I think that Starbuck had a lot of issues and a lot of trauma in her life that that affected and forced her to become who she was. Doll doesn't. You know, Doll was like probably came out of the womb with a gun in her hand, and this is just who she is. She's incredibly tough. She's very unforgiving, and that wasn't Starbuck at all. You know, Kara was emotionally driven, and Doll is driven by her military obligation. It's very different. I think ultimately the main reason why she feels this kind of draw to Riddick is that she realizes that he could have killed her and didn't. And I think in that moment she realizes that this isn't exactly what it seems. And for the first time probably in the military, she's questioned authority, which is a very it's a very interesting thing for anybody who knows anything about the military. It's completely unacceptable. So there's probably a lot of internal questioning that was going on in her head. She's got some pretty explosive German DNA from one of the lines in the script, actually. So I do like this very, very much, and I love the fact that Doll is one of the strongest characters in this movie, and that she's probably got more testosterone than a lot of them. So, and more balls.